Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Crime drama this hour as we go back to June 6, 1947, an episode of Murder at Midnight. The episode entitled Murder's a Lonely Business.
Murder at Midnight.
Let go of my arms. I'll give you money. All the money you want.
No, Fred, no!
You monsters! I'll make you pay for this.
Midnight, the witching hour when the night is darkest, our fears the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute in Murder's a Lonely Business. And now, Murder at Midnight. Unusual stories of terror and mystery by radio's masters of the macabre. This tale, a study of murder in duet, is by William Morwood. Its title, Murder's a Lonely Business. At a cemetery, a burial is taking place.
For as much as it hath pleased Almighty God of his great mercy to take unto himself the soul of our brother,
The two chief mourners, Fred and Grace Tilson, stand beside the open grave.
earth to earth,
And as he looks at his
ashes
wife,
to ashes,
bitter thoughts
dust
course
to
through
dust.
Fred's mind.
in sure and certain
Look
hope
at her.
of the resurrection.
Look at her standing there, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief.
Who shall
Tears.
save our vile bodies,
Real tears after what she did,
like unto his glory
after what she made me do.
according to the working whereby
She doesn't know what sincerity is, or love, or pity either. She's hard, hard all the way through.
Almighty God,
And I never knew,
that of thy Son
never even suspected till
hath destroyed death,
till we killed him.
by his rest in the tomb,
Now,
sanctified the grave,
that's the way she acted. I'll never forget it. Never.
his glorious
A nightmare always.
life, immortality to life.
How can I go on living with her? How can I ever trust her again? What am I to do? Oh, Lord, I'd give anything for a drink.
To think I ever married that sniveling creature. I believe he's really crying, really sorry, as if he cared a whoop about his Uncle Edward outside of the money he could get out of him. He was ready enough to help put the old man out of the way the other night. Now his nerve's gone. All he can think about is a drink. That's the only time I feel safe with him, when he's drunk. And not always then. The way he's been carrying on lately, Lord knows what he'll say or do next. I'll have to watch him every minute of the time. He's a fool, an
Through
idiot.
thy mercy,
I
O our
despise
Lord, who livest and reignest with the Father and the Holy Ghost, ever one God, world without end. Amen.
Amen. Goodbye, Uncle Edward. They're throwing dirt on your coffin now. But you won't mind. You're cold and silent now. Very different from the way you were 3 nights ago.
3 nights ago. Was that all it was? Another lifetime, but... Yes, that's right. Driving up to his house in the dark. Letting ourselves in. Uncle Edward!
He must be up in his study.
I guess so. Servant's night out. Uncle Edward?
The door above opened, and Uncle Edward started down the marble staircase. In my mind's eye, instead of Uncle Edward, I could see my friends, a whole crowd filling the room, and myself in a gorgeous gown descending to greet them. A much more fitting picture than the stodgy form of Uncle Edward as he came down toward us.
Well, this is a surprise.
I thought we'd drop in, Uncle Edward. It's been a long time.
6 weeks, to be exact, Fred. How are you, Grace?
Wonderful, thanks, Uncle Edward.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. You look a little off your feed. Come on into the library. You'll be more comfortable here. Oh, a drink, Fred?
Why,
Don't be polite. From what I hear, you're rarely seen without one these days.
You sound as if you'd had spies watching us, Uncle Edward.
It's entirely possible.
What?
I've certainly been interested in your activities. For instance, I hear you can be found at a gambling house almost every evening, Grace.
Oh, only the fashionable ones, where everybody goes. You've got to keep in the swim nowadays.
If you can afford it. You can't. Not on Fred's salary.
That's the trouble.
well, frankly, Uncle Edward, that's why we've come here tonight. We're in a jam again.
Money?
What else?
And you want me to bail you out, huh? Well, I'll be equally frank with you. This time, I'm not going to do it.
Just
But
this.
Uncle
I'm sorry. I've helped you out of messes often enough in the past. Each time, I hoped you'd pull yourself together, settle down, and lead solid, respectable lives. But each time, you disappointed me. Now, I've given up hoping.
Uncle Edward, I promise you...
Too late, Fred. I can't believe your promises anymore. I've given you and Grace every chance. Now I'm washing my hands of you. You can't expect help from me ever again. Now or in the future.
Exactly what does that mean?
My lawyer's coming here tomorrow, and I'm going to cut Fred out of my will. Cut him out entirely.
Uncle Edward...
Every cent I have is to be left to charity.
Why, you're not serious. You can't be. Why, it's not fair. I'm your only nephew, and
There's no use talking, Fred. My mind is made up. Now, would you care to discuss the weather?
No.
I thought you wouldn't, Grace.
Come along, Fred. Uncle Edward, I advise you to change your mind about this.
I beg your pardon?
Because if you don't, you may live to be sorry.
We went outside. Grace was in a white rage, and I was all jumping myself. We walked around the garden paths, trying to get hold of ourselves before we started back to town.
You know what this means, don't you, Fred? The end of everything. We'll never be able to get credit once it's known that Uncle Edward's cut us off.
Yes, I know.
Somehow, some way, we've got to stop him from changing his will.
But how? You know there's no use arguing with him. He's as stubborn as a mule. Besides, there's no time left. He's going to do it tomorrow.
I know. Unless, of course, something happens to him before that.
Such as?
He could die.
What?
Suddenly.
Some chance he's as healthy. Grace, what are you thinking of?
You know.
You're mad.
If you want to spend the rest of your life struggling with debts, not able to do anything, I don't.
But...
Everything's perfect for it. The old man's alone in the house. No one knows we call this evening. No one will.
Stop it. I won't listen to you.
Be a man for once in your life. Everything you want. Money, luxury. For 5 minutes' work.
Yes, but how?
The gun. The gun he keeps in the desk in his study. You've seen it.
Yes, but...
We'll take the money, valuables, to make it look like a robbery. Well, what are you afraid of? The sight of a little blood?
Grace, I don't know you when you talk like this.
I know what I'm after for both of us. It's our only chance of a future. Together. Are you coming?
Yes.
All right. Then let's go in. The servants will be coming back. We haven't any time to waste.
We went back into the house, climbed the long staircase to Uncle Edward's study. My mouth was dry, my knees were shaking when we reached the landing.
Knock on the door.
Grace supposes?
It's too late to suppose anything. Knock.
Yes? Come in. I was expecting you back.
You were?
Certainly. I didn't think you let the money go that easily. Not after Grace's threat.
What do you mean?
You should have been a man, Grace. You've a completely ruthless streak in you. You'll stop at nothing to get what you're after. No wonder you've led poor Fred around by the nose so long.
Now, look here, Uncle Edward.
Sorry to hurt your feelings, Fred, but you must admit it's true. Now, if you two will explain why you came back...
We hope to make you change your mind.
You should know me better than that. I've said my last word.
Not your last, Uncle Edward. Not yet.
What Grace means is...
You don't have to explain, Fred. Her interest in my desk explains itself. The right-hand drawer, Grace. Were you by any chance looking for this?
The gun?
Yes, I took the precaution of removing it. As I said, I was expecting you back.
I don't know what you're talking about, Uncle Edward. I was only looking for your checkbook. I thought the least that you could do was to help us out of our present difficulties.
It's a good story, Grace, but not quite good enough. Now, as it's almost 12, perhaps you'd both be good enough to leave my house permanently.
Well, you win, Uncle Edward. I suppose we were foolish to think that we could find a soft spot in that stone heart of yours.
You were foolish, all right. This way.
This reminds me of the old days, when Fred and I were first married, when we used to come and visit you. You used to see us to the head of the stairs when it came time to go. Just like this.
That was a long time ago.
I wish those days could come back.
Impossible. Well, good night, Fred, and goodbye.
Well, aren't you going to shake hands with your only nephew?
Well, since it's for the last time, goodbye, Fred.
Hold him, Fred. He's on, Fred.
Let go of me, Grace.
Hands, Fred, together. What?
No, stop. I'll give you money. All the money you want.
No, Fred, no.
You monsters. I'll make you pay for this.
Grace, what did we do? What did you make me...
Get down there, quick.
There's no pulse. His heart... He's dead. Grace, when they find him...
An accident. The old man tripped on the stairs and broke his back. The money's ours, Fred. Everything we wanted.
What's that? Grace, you heard?
Oh, you fools. So you think it's yours, do you? Nothing is yours but death. Because you're going to pay.
A dead man lying at the foot of the stairs, and a white-faced couple staring at each other. Did they hear a voice from beyond? Is it possible for the dead to make the living pay for murder at midnight?
June 6, 1947, Murder at Midnight on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to Medi-Share for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Medi-Share's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Medi-Share is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now more of Murder at Midnight. Murder's a Lonely Business from June 6, 1947.
And now, here is Grace Tilson to continue our story.
It went according to plan. The inquest raised no ugly questions or suspicions. And then after Uncle Edward's funeral, we settled down in the great old mansion. I could have been happy. So happy. Except for Fred. He'd taken to drinking again. Haven't you had enough, Fred?
Another little drink won't do me.
You're such an idiot. The way you've been acting ever since...
We did in poor Uncle Edward? Don't be afraid to say it, Grace. We're alone now.
Why did you give up your job so suddenly?
I'm a rich man now. No need to work.
But it looks so suspicious. And the way you've let yourself slip. That dirty shirt. You haven't shaved in 2 days.
Don't tell me you're ashamed of me.
I can't ask anyone to the house. And I had such plans for us. Entertaining parties, making a name for ourselves.
Sorry, that's not my idea of a career.
In heaven's name, what is?
Drinks. More drinks. Then another one.
I won't let you turn into a drunken bum. I won't be disgraced like that.
I'll do exactly what I like, and you won't stop me. Don't forget, my love. We share a little secret together.
I'm not forgetting.
No matter what happens, you're tied to me for the rest of your life.
I wouldn't be too sure of that, Fred. If I get a chance at what I want, you won't stand in my way. Nothing will.
What did she mean by that? I thought about it, brooded over it, couldn't forget it. Then one evening as we sat together in a nightclub, things became clearer.
Did you hear me, Fred?
What?
I said I wanted a cigarette.
Oh, certainly, Mother. Here you are. Match?
If you can hold it steady enough. Why do you have to get soused every time we go out?
A tribute to your intoxicating charms.
Oh, don't be so... Oh, well, there's Ronnie.
Good old Ronnie. Dowager's delight.
Now, if you'll only look over this way.
With that dress you're wearing? You will.
Ronnie! Oh, Ronnie!
The change that came over her. The smile. Sparkling eyes as he came over to our table.
Well, hello there. This is a pleasant surprise, bumping into you again, Tilson.
Getting to be a regular routine. The theater, the races, everywhere I go with Grace.
Yes, we seem to share a lot in common, Fred.
Sit down, Ronnie. What do you have to drink?
Oh, nothing, thanks. I've had my quota for the evening.
Well, I'm glad someone knows when to stop.
Maybe Ronnie's got other vices.
I have, Fred. One of them's dancing. You mind if I take Grace out on the floor for a turn?
Why ask me? I'm sure Grace will agree to anything you say.
Fred, now what kind of a nasty...
Oh, come on, Grace. Fred didn't mean anything. Well, see you later, old boy.
They danced well together. As I watched them, I remembered the things I'd heard about Ronnie. Of his rich wife who died so conveniently, and the fortune he'd run through. I saw Grace look into his eyes. Their lips moved. The suspicion grew on me till it became a certainty. They were plotting my death. The veins stood out in my forehead. My hands grew cold. But I knew exactly what I had to do. I had to strike first. I had to kill them before they killed me. If only I knew what they were plotting. If only I could hear they were whispering to each other.
Oh, Grace, darling, you're so silent.
It's Fred. How dare he act that way?
Oh, he's a very unpleasant person.
Of course, he's under the weather. But that's no excuse.
Just means he doesn't give a rap for you. Never has.
Well, don't let's talk about him.
Right. Music's lovely.
Yes.
So are you.
Ronnie.
You dance like an angel. I could hold you in my arms forever. Oh, we're just made for each other. You know that, Grace, don't you?
I'd rather not think about it.
But you must. Have you considered what we talked about the other day?
It's impossible.
Why? I love you more than anything in the world. We have the same tastes and ambitions. We could be a wonderful success together.
But...
You love me too, don't you?
Oh, yes, yes.
Well, then what's stopping us? What's so precious about the life of a drunken bum?
Fred's my husband.
Husband. Do you love him? Even respect him?
No. I did feel sorry for him, but not anymore. Not after tonight. I hate him.
That's more like it. Well, then there's nothing to interfere.
Except...
The danger? Leave that in my hands. You have just one job to do, Grace.
And that?
Get Fred up to my place in the mountains for a vacation. I guarantee he'll never come back.
I don't know if I should have been suspicious. Fred agreed to go up to Ronnie's place with surprising ease. It was almost as if he'd been expecting the invitation. The night we planned to do it, we sat in the living room, just the three of us. Ronnie was playing the piano.
I'm afraid I'm awfully rusty. I haven't practiced in weeks.
It sounds grand to me, Ronnie.
Why don't you join him, Grace? I know you're just dying to play with Ronnie. Duet, I mean.
Well, that's all we have time for anyway. I promised the Pearsons we wouldn't be late.
Oh, that beach picnic. Tell you the truth, I don't feel much like it.
But you promised to go, Fred.
Do you a world of good, old boy. Wonderful night for a swim.
You both seem very anxious to get me down to that lake.
Why, not at all. If you want Grace and me to go alone.
All right, I'll come. But I've got to go upstairs for my bathing suit. Wait for me here.
Well, hurry it up, old boy. All set, Grace? You know exactly what to do?
But I think so.
You make a great fuss about Fred drinking. That'll be remembered afterwards. I'll take care of him at the raft. Push his head underwater
If
and...
you struggle, he'll call out.
Not in the condition he's in. He's as weak as a baby. Be all over in a few minutes. I'll swim back and...
Ronnie.
Yes?
Isn't there some other way? We love each other so much. Can't we just...
Run off together? Let's be realistic, darling. We need the money. His money. Love in a cottage isn't our style.
I suppose not. Where is he? What's keeping him so long?
I'm just as glad. Come on, Grace. I want to make sure there's an extra bottle of whiskey for him in the car. This way, darling. Through here into the garage.
Give me your hand, Ronnie.
Now, darling, everything's going to be all right.
Just being with you. Ronnie.
Yes?
I saw something moving.
June 6, 1947, Murder at Midnight on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The conclusion follows these words from your favorite station.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite station. Now the conclusion of Murder at Midnight. Murder's a Lonely Business. June 6, 1947.
I saw something moving.
Where?
Over there. Behind the car.
Fred.
Hello. Thought I'd hurry things up by coming straight out to the garage.
Well, you gave us quite a start.
Why, Grace? Something on your conscience?
Well, the Pearsons will be on our necks if we don't get started soon. Now, in you go. We're off to the races.
But just try to pick the winner. We drove out to the road, the winding road that led down to the valley. I knew just the spot where I had to leave them. From there on, their only companion would be the man with the sickle. Slow down, Ronnie.
Huh?
I'm not going to the picnic after all. My head's splitting.
But it's too late to drive you back, Fred.
You won't have to. I'll walk. Just let me out.
Very well.
But, Ronnie...
It's all right, Grace. We don't want Fred to have a miserable time at the picnic when we can settle things so much better this way.
Oh, thanks. I hate to run out on you, but I've got my health to think of.
Oh, sure. Oh, incidentally, there's a shortcut back to the house through the fence there.
I don't see it.
Go on ahead. I'll turn the headlights on it.
Thanks. So long. Have a good trip. Where are you going?
Fred, look out!
Shut up!
Ronnie, you ran him down. You killed him.
That's what we wanted, isn't it?
But not here, not out here on the road.
It'll look like a hit-and-run accident. We'll double back at the bottom of the hill and pretend we came from another direction.
Oh, we won't get away with it, Ronnie. It's no use. They'll catch us this time.
Snap out of it, Grace. Sorry, but you've got to get hold of yourself.
Yes, I must. I can't go all to pieces. My hands are trembling. Where are you going?
Take the wheel. You're going to drive.
No, I can't.
Now move over. Go on.
No.
Now drive. Your life depends on it. Both our lives.
I started down that steep zigzag road, and slowly my nerves relaxed. As the car swooped around the curves, I felt a strange exhilaration.
Easy on these curves, Grace. It's a sheer drop if we go over the cliff.
Are you scared now, Ronnie?
Well, I want to keep my neck in one piece.
You needn't worry. I'm a good driver. Fred always said
What's the matter?
nothing.
Keep your mind on the road. There's a hairpin bend ahead of here that... Hey, look out!
Okay, I see it. I pushed on the brake. The pedal went all the way to the floor, but nothing caught. Nothing.
No, Grace. Now, do you know what I was doing there in the garage? I disconnected the brakes.
He did it! Fred!
The fence, Grace. The
He
fence.
disconnected them!
Yes, Grace. I meant to kill you and Ronnie before you killed
Grace, slow down.
Oh, Ronnie, for heaven's sake, do something!
Slow down.
It's coming after you. It's too late now. And a long, long drop to the rocks below.
Ronnie!
See you soon, Grace. Very soon.
You see how it works out, Fred. And you, Grace, you made one little mistake the night you killed me. You thought that company in crime made it easier, but it doesn't. Murder is a lonely business. A very lonely business.
One body lying crumpled in the middle of the road, and two more in the shattered wreckage of the car at the foot of the cliff. 3 people, lonely no longer, as the clock strikes 12 for murder at midnight. Remember to be with us again when death plays host and the clocks strike 12 for murder at midnight. The part of Grace was played by Helen Shields. Wendell Holmes was her husband. Carl Emery, her lover. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
June 6, 1947, Murder at Midnight on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Radio? Why should I advertise on radio? There's nothing to look at, no pictures.
Listen, you can do things on radio you couldn't possibly do on TV.
That'll be the day.
All right, watch this. Okay, people, and now when I give you the cue, I want the 700-foot mountain of whipped cream to roll into Lake Michigan, which has been drained and filled with hot chocolate. Then the Royal Canadian Air Force will fly overhead towing a 10-ton maraschino cherry, which will be dropped into the whipped cream to the cheering of 25,000 extras. All right, cue the mountain. Cue the Air Force. Cue the maraschino cherry. Okay, 25,000 cheering extras. Now, you want to try that on television?
Well...
You see, radio is a very special medium because it stretches the imagination.
Doesn't television stretch the imagination?
Up to 27 inches, yes.
She was born in a humble shack amidst the lemon groves of Goleta, California.
Mommy, don't cry. You know what they say? When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. I was gonna say life sucks, and then you die. But I like yours better.
And with that, Alexandra Johnson launched her lemonade stand.
Lemonade, nickel a glass.
Every day, even during the frigid California winters, a bone-chilling 72 degrees, you could find her.
You can have a sour, you can have a sweet. Little girl's lemonade will knock you off your feet.
The little girl with the sour brew wanted more, national distribution, franchises, and so she rolled out a well-budgeted advertising campaign.
Me and the rest of the dockworkers only drink little girl lemonade.
She was made president of the International Sour Drink Association and chosen to give the keynote speech at their convention.
You all set with words of wisdom, honey? You know what they say, Mommy. Always advertise so consumers think of your product first. I was gonna say never swallow a lemon seed or a watermelon on your tummy.
This fabricated but interesting story is to remind you that it's called advertising and it works.
Put your message on this national advertising platform by emailing classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we have part 3 of the 5-part Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story, The Indestructible Mike Matter. Mike, played by Howard McNear. This originally broadcast June 6th, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Huh? What?
You're John Wesley Cosgrave, aren't you?
That's right.
Well, my name's Johnny Dollar. I'm an insurance investigator.
Oh, of course. I've been expecting a call from you. Or at least from somebody like you.
What's that supposed to mean?
I expect you're interested in why I've insured the life of a Bowery bum for $50,000.
You bet I am. I want to see you.
Why not? Anytime. Only it won't do you any good.
Tonight, and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar, location New York, New York, to the Lakeside Life and Casualty Company. Following is an accounting of expenditures incurred during my investigation of the Indestructible Mike Matter. Expense account item 9, 10 cents, the phone call to John Wesley Cosgrave from my dingy little hotel on the Lower East Side. Item 10, 270, taxi uptown to see Sergeant Randy Singer, Detective Division, 18th Precinct.
You get back to that Glad Hand rescue mission in time? After all, when the lab boys discovered that so-called whiskey was almost pure wood...
By the time I got there, Randy, the poor old coot had drunk nearly half the bottle.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, I better arrange for him to be hauled down to the morgue. Old Mike's still alive?
And happy.
Oh, that's impossible.
You don't know the half of it. A week or so ago, somebody stabbed him with an ice pick just below the heart. Result? He said the scar itched a little bit. 2 days ago, somebody drove a couple of .38 slugs through him. He said it gave him a slight twitch in his side for a few hours.
Johnny, come on now.
Now he goes and drinks nearly half a bottle of wood alcohol.
Poison.
Result? A bit of a headache.
Indestructible Mike.
Indestructible Mike.
Where is he now?
Locked up in my room at the Brakely Hotel, with orders to eat the groceries I picked up for him and to let nobody in.
Good.
But whoever's trying to get him isn't going to give up. Hey, did you dig up anything on the beneficiary of his $50,000 life policy, Cosgrave?
Only enough to scare you to death. Listen to this. John Wesley Cosgrave, formerly known as John W. Gordon, John Dutchy Gordon.
What?
Alias Skippy Grant, alias Dutchy Smith.
Wait a minute.
18 arrests, but only one conviction. Back in 1938 for possession of narcotics.
Randy.
Ever hear of Murder Incorporated?
Well, sure, but this...
Apparently they had a subsidiary. Apparently your friend Gordon or Cosgrave or whatever you like to call him was one of the big shots in it. But outside of the narcotics bit, the department was never able to really pin anything on him.
But this guy's address is... Here, let me see.
621 East 49th Street.
Yeah. That's not only a respectable neighborhood, but pretty plush.
That's right.
Well, how recent is his record? What's he doing now?
Last pickup was in 1944. Numbers game and bookmaking. Charges dropped for lack of evidence.
Then, apart from the record, is he still in the rackets?
He is. Nobody can prove it. Like in the old days, he masterminded and let somebody else do the dirty work. It's listed here as a, quote, retired, unquote.
Well, my money says he's still in business.
Well, if you can prove it, the department and the DA's office will love you dearly, but I don't think you will. Every time we dragged in a stoolie who could give us what we wanted, something happened to him.
Like what?
Jump bail.
Well, you should have known better than to let him have bail.
One of them poisoned in his cell in the Tombs, one breakout, and his body was found in the East River, even one suicide.
Like to bet I can't tie him in with these attempts on Mike Flynn's life?
Well, now, that's something else again. Maybe it's something we should handle.
No, hands off, and I mean it.
All right, don't get testy about it, John.
I like the old guy, and anybody who tries to hurt him has to answer to me. And somebody's tried. Expense account item 11, 165. Cab fare to the Smart Modern apartment building at 621 East 49th, where the doorman announced that Mr. J. Wesley Cosgrave was expecting me and to take the elevator to apartment 11B.
Come in, Mr. Dollar.
The apartment was expensively but tastefully furnished with overall carpeting that felt 1.5 inches thick. Several original oils by famous contemporary artists hung on the walls. But it was the man himself who really seemed out of character with the rundown Randy had given me. He was 6'1" or 2, built like a man who spends his odd hours in the gym. Quick, gray eyes, his hair slightly gray at the temples, and his tailor was a master.
Do you like it, Mr. Dollar?
Huh? What?
That is a genuine Picasso you're looking at. And I consider myself very fortunate to possess this original by Salvatore Dali.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I'm sure you'll appreciate the excellent view of the city from these corner windows.
Yeah.
I must have the best, Mr. Dollar. Only the best. Oh, sit down, please. May I pour you a drink?
No. No, thanks.
I suppose you're wondering why I decided to buy old Michael Flynn the life insurance policy of which he's so proud.
I am.
Well, it's really very easy to explain. You see, I was born and brought up on the Lower East Side, Mr. Dollar, in deplorably poor circumstances. My early life was a never-ending struggle for survival and for whatever questionable sort of education I could glean from those about me, many of them criminals, who were my only companions.
That's all very touching, Mr. Cosgrave.
And I'm afraid I did little to lift myself out of the gutter until one winter night, hungry and broke, I wandered into the Helping Hand Rescue Mission.
Yeah, I understand you still go around there now and then.
Oh, yes, I do, in the hope that somehow I can help the poor unfortunates there the way the mission and Daddy Bill helped me. Repay some of the debt I feel I owe.
Is that the only reason?
What do you mean, is that the only reason?
You've given jobs to some of those poor unfortunates from time to time, haven't you?
Oh, yes, I have.
What kind of jobs?
What business? That's hardly a concern of yours, Mr. Dollar. I've contributed much to the mission. I've tried to make life easier for some of the deserving habituaries of the mission.
What?
It's the least I can do after so much was done for me. In the case of Mike, why, his greatest desire in life was to be the proud owner of life insurance. Why, I don't know.
I do. Because you sold him on it.
That's a lie. That's a dirty...
Is it? Then why make him name you as beneficiary instead of the mission or some other deserving cause?
And that, Mr. Dollar, was his own idea. And since it made him happy, I didn't protest. I suppose the real reason for this particular desire was his feeling that it might give him dignity.
Yeah. Now tell me something. Where does all your money come from, Dutchie?
Dutch? Who told you that? Nobody calls me Dutchie no more, not you or nobody else. Them days are over. I'm respectable, even educated.
I wonder.
Look at my record. I haven't been on the blotter since 44, and that was a bum. Mr. Dollar, I make no pretensions about not having a past. During Prohibition and later, I made millions. Yes, millions in rum running, and the policy racket as a betting commissioner.
How about narcotics?
Sure, there was hardly a caper in this town I didn't have a finger into, and I was smart. I pocketed the profits, not my boys. That's why I can afford to be retired and live decent. And I'm going to keep on living this way.
You were lucky some of those boys, that mob of yours, didn't rat on you.
Yeah, but thanks to a couple of convenient rub-outs that I had nothing to do with, you understand, I managed to stay clean with the law.
And now you're as pure as the driven snow.
Dollar, if this was the old days, you wouldn't even live long enough to regret what you're implicating, you think.
Which makes me dead sure I'm thinking right. I don't know how much money you've got socked away from those old days. I don't care. But from what you've just admitted...
To you, Dollar, not to any judge or DA.
Right. And I'll never believe that a clever mind like yours, smart enough to keep you out of the pen all
Oh,
those years...
flattery won't get you nowhere.
I refuse to believe you could turn down a chance to make a crooked buck. I don't know what kind of jobs you sent out those poor suckers from the mission on. But the fact they never came back makes that look pretty bad.
You can't.
And along
prove it.
came Mike Flynn, poor old alcoholic Mike. Where the talk of insurance came from, I don't know. But it was too good to pass up. Insure his life for $50,000, have him name you as beneficiary, give him a few dollars so he could spend his last days in a happy alcoholic haze, then rub him out and collect the 50 G's.
Listen, Dollar, if Mike gets knocked off, neither you nor anybody else is going to be able to tab me with it. And one other thing.
Yeah, what's that?
As a friendly piece of advice, if I was you, I wouldn't even try.
Is that a threat?
Oh, Mr. Dollar, you made a miserable host of me. Come, let me pour you a drink, the finest 25-year-old Scotch. And we can talk of pleasant things.
For some reason or other, I did have the drink with him. But he knew what was in the back of my mind, and I'm afraid I knew what was in the back of his. Something along the same line as a couple of convenient rub-outs. Once or twice his veneer of education slipped, but all in all, he made a fair conversationalist. Finally, I left. And all the way down to the street, I kept wanting to look back to see if I was being followed. Somehow, somewhere, there was a way to get this Cosgrave. But I could see it would have to be through someone else, someone working for him. And whoever that might be could very well be out to get me first. Or Mike. Item 12295, taxi back to the Brakely Hotel, where I hoped the old boy was still locked up in my room. He was.
Oh, well, Johnny. My, I was beginning to wonder what had happened to you.
Oh, hey. What was the matter with that food I left with you? You hardly touched it.
I had enough. It was kind of dry, though.
Kind of dry. There's a container of coffee there.
Yes, but coffee just doesn't seem to quench my thirst.
Oh.
You should let me bring the rest of that bottle along.
That wood alcohol? Any more of that would have killed you.
Oh, yeah, it did have a kick, though, didn't it?
Oh, I don't know how you lived through it. Well, look, now I want some lunch. And, Mike, I'm going to take you along with me.
Oh, that'll be fine. Could I have maybe a little drink, too?
Oh, sure, you can have one.
Oh, that's nice. Good. Of course, the size of the drinks they serve nowadays.
No, just one now. Come on.
Oh, that's fine. One will be... See, there's a lovely saloon just around the corner, you know.
Come on.
Even sandwiches for those that want them, I understand. These stairs. Maybe we could just bring a bottle back with us to your room if we are going to come back.
Sweet, funny old soul. I loved him. And I knew that without me, he'd be a dead one so fast. So far, the attempts on his life had been made by persons unknown. Unless the mission. Daddy Bill. Could Daddy Bill be somehow tied in with Cosgrave's operations? I wondered. I paid the check. That's item 13285, and we started walking to the Glad Hand Rescue Mission along some of the back streets. I wanted time to think it out, if I could think, over the incessant, pleasant shadow of
I'm
Mike.
really enjoying life now that I have money now and then. Why, sometimes I get on the subway and I just ride all over town all day long.
Yeah, you told me.
See, why don't you try that sometime, Johnny? It's really one. See, there's a bar there on the corner. Why don't we just pop in?
No, let's pass that one.
John, why do you feel that you have to look after me this way?
You know darn well why I... Hey, watch the curve. Why I'm looking after you. It's because somebody's on... Mike, look out! Mike, listen to me.
Hey,
can you hear me, Mike?
What happened to the...
Hey, mister, get a cop, an ambulance.
You mean for him or what's left of him?
Yes, hurry. Well, what's the matter with you?
Use your eyes, buddy. It's too late.
Now, here's our star to tell you about tomorrow's intriguing episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow, somebody's going to have to pay for what's happening here. Yes, that's a promise. From yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. It is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone, who also wrote tonight's story. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
So is it the end of Indestructible Mike? We'll see on our next program. From June 6th, 1956, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for making us a part of your day. If you want to build your own classic radio collection, go to classicradio.stream. You can learn more about building a classic radio collection of your own. And you can, by the way, also find out about radiomemories.com. That's our friend Ted, who provides shows on cassette, CD, or flash drive for your computer at a very reasonable price. RadioMemories.com. Thank this station, support their advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite station. And of course, if you miss a day, you don't have to miss a single show. You can hear all of our shows through iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. And, of course, my webpage, which is classicradio.stream. You can stream the shows as well. You can learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can contact me there. You can tip me a Dr. Pepper if you want to. You can do that. There's a link right there at classicradio.stream. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.